Alright, Mortal Kombat Deception might be most players' favorite Mortal Kombat game from the 3D era, and it's a beloved video game for numerous reasons, but there's something in it that has always bothered me, and given I will use any excuse on this channel to draw Sub-Zero, I feel the need to try to repair what has to be one of the worst alternate costumes in Mortal Kombat history, this one. Okay, so a couple weeks ago I did a video talking about how I believe MK Deception Sub-Zero might have one of the greatest Sub-Zero designs in MK history. I still stand by that. Shredder Sub-Zero looks amazing. But I also touched on how that alternate costume is one of the ugliest designs I think they've ever given Scorpion or Sub-Zero for that matter. That bald, I don't know why he has that design whatsoever. And it's never remotely been touched on or used in any further Mortal Kombat games. Hell, his alternate Mortal Kombat Armageddon was his Deadly Alliance outfit. So in doing all these redesigns on this channel, I decided to give myself a challenge, and that is trying to come up with a design that looks better than that one. But I also gave myself a few restraints as well. I wanted to make sure that A, the designs look like they should fit in Mortal Kombat Deception, so I'm not trying to go too crazy as you would see the designs in say MK11 or MK1. I also wanted to completely ignore the 6 Mortal Kombat games that came after Mortal Kombat Deception so that I'm not letting future Sub-Zero designs influence the one that I'm doing here. So with that in mind, I actually tried to come up with some semblance of an alternate attire for this one that hopefully does it better justice than the one that was originally manufactured by Midway. I'll let you be the judge of how these designs came out.
Finish her!
Alright, so my first crack at an actual Sub-Zero design, in my mind I was thinking about the 2 Mortal Kombat Deception outfits, the Shredder one and the ugly bald alternate, and I was trying to keep some of those elements intact and design something new. Also, one thing that I also did was gave Sub-Zero the scar. Whether it's Kuai Liang or Bi-Han, which we know is Kuai Liang, I feel like there's no reason why he would lose the scar. It's the one thing that bothers me about the Shredder outfit. But getting that out of the way, I don't know why I wanted to maintain somewhat of the sort of padded look. As I've said before many times on this channel, I'm a big fan of the Mortal Kombat 3 sort of costumes and outfits in MK history. So I wanted to leave a little bit of that intact for this design, and I think I kind of went overboard in how I did that. I felt like I could have played with this a little bit more in the initial sort of sketch portion of this design, but as I continued, it got a little out of control, and I ended up having this hodgepodge of a fusion between Mortal Kombat 3 Sub-Zero, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance Sub-Zero, and the Mortal Kombat Deception attire. I almost feel like I ended up coming up with something that was far worse than what was initially done in the game itself, which was not what my task was. It was to come up with something better, not something almost worse. So in the end, I sort of had this looking design, and I'm not entirely a fan of it. There's aspects of it that I did like the icy arms, and the top, I felt like if I gave him different pants, it would have fitted a lot more, but trying to hold the Deception pants with this design was an amazing disaster. Plus, keeping the face mask and just tying it around his neck, I felt like it would have been better off if I actually put it on him. So for my first crack at trying to come up with an alternate design, I think I failed in this regard. I still think that ugly Deception design is better than this one. So I did a second design. This time I focused a lot more on the initial Shredder design, and I decided to play around a little bit more with the design and get a little more crazy. This one I liked a lot more than the one that I previously worked on. I gave him a lot of different wraps. I gave him a long-haired ponytail, since that's kind of what they were going for with the Deception design. They just gave him the ponytail and no other hair on top of his head, so he's half bald and half not. Why, I have no idea. The actual glove design, I'm not gonna lie, I borrowed that in part from Frost's Deadly Alliance attire. I just like those gloves and the way it looks. And then I went ahead and gave him a similar face mask that he has in the game already and started designing from there. I also gave him sort of abdominal wraps. I don't know why I felt like that would look more like Grandmaster-ish, or it wouldn't just look like he's random Lin Kuei fighter. I don't know. He looked so different for his Deception design. I felt like he needed to look just as odd or crazy for his alternate if he was going to have one for that game. To me, especially after coloring this attire fits more in the vein with other Mortal Kombat Deception designs or the ones of the 3D era. I'm just not sure if it really should be a design for Sub-Zero. To me, it fits the game, but that's not necessarily a good thing in this instance. He almost looks like a bondage Sub-Zero, and that was not my intention. Too many wraps and straps and stuff on him. I needed to sort of get rid of some of those. But still, a far improvement in design from the one I just came up with, and personally, I still like this one that I came up with better than the actual Deception alternate that he has in the games. So in my mind so far, I kind of have a mediocre Sub-Zero design and an okay one. So then I created my definitive Mortal Kombat Deception Sub-Zero alternate. So this one is a hodgepodge of a lot of different Sub-Zero designs, almost like the first one I came up with, only this time I think I handled it a lot better. Instead of actually trying to keep the design elements from previous Mortal Kombat games, I used aspects of it as an influence rather than just as is literally taking those designs and trying to make something of it. So I kept sort of wide baggy pants, which is what was used for a lot of Mortal Kombat Deception designs. My thought here was I wanted it to look like casual Grandmaster Sub-Zero, if that makes any sense whatsoever. Him not full shredded out like he is in his main design. So I made sure he had the Lin Kuei amulet or symbol on him. Like I said, I gave him the baggy pants that is sort of real big in the 3D era. I gave him the Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance mask because I just said to hell with it and put a mask on him regardless. But I still kept it within the 3D era, so I didn't break the promise that I was leading with in its design. I also gave him gloves that closely resemble his Mortal Kombat 3 ones, and I gave him a top that sort of plays off of the Mortal Kombat 3 design as well, without ripping it off too much. And I still kept a lot of the color scheme and the band looks from the Mortal Kombat Deception alternate as well. So it's a lot of different aspects of different Sub-Zero designs, but I think I merged them pretty well. To me, this looks like an acceptable alternate to the Shredder design that he has in the game. Then coloring it, once I got the blues and everything else in, to me it looked a lot like what you would imagine Kuai Yang to look like as Grandmaster of the Lin Kuei. This guy looks like a leader. To me, the only departure from this era that I think this design has is he doesn't have gray hair, but I don't really know why he had gray hair in the first place. In Deadly Alliance, he hadn't aged that much. I don't know if the gray was supposed to represent how cold he is now or what was going on there, but didn't give him the gray hair. Other than that, I made sure I kept the scar. I gave him weird insignias that I saw in random Lin Kuei designs, just doing research for his actual look, and I put them on his clothes. It's kind of random. I'm not really sure what those symbols means, which is, for the record, kids, not a good idea to put random symbols on a design. Just want to throw that out there. And I sort of made the pants with the MK3 looks as well. Just made them baggier. And then I went ahead, shaded the design in, added the highlights. I wanted very specific areas of this design to sort of have a lot of shiny parts to it and really shiny elements to it as opposed to others. So normally where I would go back and do multiple passes of the lights and add the specular highlights, I was real meticulous of where I put the highlights in here, because for whatever reason I only wanted certain spots of his look to have shine to it as opposed to the others. I don't know why I felt like this design really needed that. And in the end, I had this Sub-Zero design. Personally, as a Sub-Zero fan, I like this one best. I feel like this is leaps and bounds and improvement over the alternate that he has in Deception. I also feel like this would make a pretty decent alternate attire in his game. Hell, I actually feel like it would be a pretty cool main Sub-Zero design, being quite honest. But I'd love to know you guys' feedback. I'm going to go ahead and put all 3 Sub-Zero designs on the screen now. You guys can be the judges to which ones you like and don't like, or which ones you feel like would fit Mortal Kombat Deception's look and feel, both as a game and specifically Sub-Zero's costumes. But you tell me which one you prefer or what you might change in the designs or what you might not. As always, like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't. And you all have a good one. And I'm out.